Hey y'all, it's Warren. I'm back. This is a pretty unscripted video. The only real thing I had planned when turning on the camera today was to react. I'm here to react to the new old Radiohead song, I Promise. Now it's new because we haven't heard it, but it's old because it's 20 years old. Goodness, wow. And it's a nice little way to almost promote the real drop later this month of Okay Not Okay. And I think it's really a nice treat for Radiohead fans. But honestly, I really don't have any expectations for this track. I haven't heard it. I know it came out over the weekend. I think it was on Friday. But I've been too busy watching the Warriors trounce the Cleveland Cavaliers. Looking for a sweep. But yeah, so I haven't had too many expectations for the song. Honestly, if it were really, really great, why did they wait 20 years to release it, But I'm just, curious as a fan, what's it gonna sound like? What was their, musical state of mind as a band back then? And I'm excited in that regard. So here we go. I can't tell if 24-bit actually sounds any different, but I'm just gonna click on there because there's a lot of numbers over here. But here we go. That was nice. That was nice. I think my first thought with that snare drum was actually Little Drummer Boy. You know, the Christmas favorite. And I quickly forgot about that because I was like, you know, just stop thinking about it, or just listen to the song. Don't try to conjure up images of Christmas. Um, but yeah, as the song went on, I realized actually the structure of the song is similar to uh, Little Drummer Boy, because it keeps ending with "I promise," and Little Drummer Boy's "Pum-pum-pum-pum." So this is Radiohead's, like, you know, very. It's a very. It's they're not the only. Come on, okay, let's be real. Little Drummer Boy is not the only song that does that, but it's got this kind of a call and response. Just, you know, there's this continual refrain coming through the song, and it's kind of nice because you hear Tom York really exercising, you know, that beautiful kind of almost, you know, boy-like angelic register from his early days. I mean, he still has a beautiful voice and still has a very high range, but there's something very nice and pure about that early part of his voice. You can hear it. I don't even know what key we're in, but you know, I could figure that out if I open up Piano Tech. We're in this key. I always play a C, and then that's not it. But so much for my relative pitch. There we go. We're in the key of E. It's a little bit higher than E concert, but you hear him in his beautiful falsetto. Why did I find the key? Well, he's going kind of, "I promise." So it's like your high A to a G sharp. You know, it's a high range there, but he's using his beautiful falsetto there. And there's another part where he's singing, "I promise." It's your 2 to the 1 in the key of E, F sharp to E. Still very high, very high. And he'll sing that falsetto once, and he'll sing it chest voice the second time if you listen to that again. All these little kind of more analytical, technical bits were things that I picked up on that first listen, just because I think, you know, I'm kind of cursed as a music teacher to pick up on those technical things. If a song doesn't completely overpower me with its raw emotional strength. Yeah, you know, the song didn't overpower me, like some Radiohead songs do. And it's kind of in line with what I expected. There's a reason it's not on OK Computer. I don't even know where it would fit on the album if they try to put it on. I don't think it would have worked. I can kind of see why they didn't. Other songs from that era, you know, Lift and Big Boots, you know, we're looking for a proper release of those, and who knows if it may have worked. You know, they decided that it wouldn't, and I'm inclined to agree with them. But yeah, this song, I see why they didn't put it on the album. I don't see why they didn't release it after, you know, 20 years or something like that. It's a nice demo, you know. But I guess at that point they were already mega stars, and they were trying to achieve something very lofty with their very full kind of concept album, OK Computer. Enough has been said about that album, but you know, if I keep kind of sharing, you know, maybe what I think about the song, hopefully you guys find this interesting. But in the key of E, right, it kind of segues into another song they were writing at the time, which was Big Ideas, now called Nude. That's another reason maybe why, you know, they didn't include it. They were working on Nude a lot, and even playing it on tour, but that didn't make it on the album either. This one didn't make it, a couple songs in the key of E, just all in the same wheelhouse. And they decided to go in a very different direction. If you think about Climbing Up the Walls, think about what's really that's probably the darkest song on OK Computer is Climbing Up the Walls, the most brutal, punishing song there. Lucky, The Tourist, there is just such a heaviness to that second half of OK Computer. This song is just too light. It's like almost like cloyingly sweet candy. Almost you don't want to break up the album with this. It just doesn't fit. But overall, it's a nice little glimpse into where they were at as a band. I can't find too many similarities between this song and the first and second albums. Everybody's favorite, Pablo Honey, probably would have some of the closest musical concepts, in terms of like more major key stuff. But not, this is a surprise to me. This is a very surprising song. It just seems very lullaby and childlike, which is interesting to me. I can't say I'm moved by the song. There are other Radiohead songs that are so, as I'm sure you're all familiar, if you're watching this video, you're a big fan of Radiohead. Some of their songs have the power to just completely just dominate you. Whatever you're doing, you stop, and you're just like, just like that, and this is not one of them. Some songs that I've heard from Radiohead are so powerful, so moving, that to this day, I've been teaching music for like 10 years. I still don't know how to play them, I don't know how to play All I Need on the piano. I've never bothered to figure it out. I figured it out on guitar. What are some other songs? I don't think I've ever played How to Disappear completely all the way through. I've never bothered to play... What else? Pyramid Song all the way through. Never bothered. It's just too powerful. Too much. Too bright. Too powerful. Radiohead fans know that was a reference to a lyric. Last Flowers. Go check it out. But yeah, just this release it's a nice little lead into the drop that is coming in a few weeks, and that's just gonna be insane. 20 years, Radiohead. 20 years of OK Computer. 20 years, man. Where was I when I was 14 years old? I was a freshman in high school, and I barely even got exposed on the radio to Karma Police, Subterranean. I know I caught Subterranean, Homesick Alien, just a touch of it on the radio, and I thought this is beautiful stuff, but I never investigated them. For those of you who don't know, or have been following this channel, you don't know my story. I didn't find or really get into Radiohead till 2005. So 20 years ago was 1997. It was still 8 years before I would even discover that was those songs I heard on the radio were written by the same band that later my college roommate, freshman year, 2001, introduced me to Pack Like Sardines. We listened to Amnesiac and Kid A at the time. The guy was just listening to this stuff, and I'm like, this is a weird band. I'm not sure I like it. But it's the same band. That was the overarching theme of my drive down to LA when I first heard all of their albums in succession. Well, kind of out of order, but in the order that my friend told me to listen to them, in up to Hail to the Thief at that time, because In Rainbows hadn't come out yet. But yeah, that's a little bit of my story, my life, kind of woven into the history of, OK Computer. I was just a wee lad, unaware of what album, what masterpiece had been dropped on the masses. It's a Tuesday today. New music used to be on Tuesdays, released on New Music Tuesdays. What is that? You guys wonder now, the young ones out there. Music used to only come out on Tuesdays, and people used to go to this place called Tower Records. My friend in 8th grade, I think it was, right when OK Computer was gonna come out, because we're the same age, so a year earlier. It was the promo leading up to OK Computer. He called in to a toll-free number to hear over a phone, which at the time, still had wires, to hear over the phone 30 seconds of OK Computer through that little lo-fi, mid-rangey, tinny phone speaker. He called in. Later on, he would become my roommate and give me the idea for teaching Radiohead songs on YouTube. Same guy. But yeah, that's what the world was like at that point. We had these things called CDs. I remember my first CD was No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom, still a pretty good album. I bought it at Tower Records. Somehow OK Computer just flew right by. And yeah, well, without any further ado, this video is getting long. I think maybe what I'll try to do is learn how to play it on the spot. It's always a good challenge for your ear and your understanding of musical concepts if you try to figure out a song the first time you hear it. It's not easy, but I've been doing this for a long time, so I think I hear a lot of things I'm already familiar with in this song. For example, I mentioned it's in the key of E. I know the key of E pretty well. I can tell that there's a lot of open strings in this song. So without figuring out the exact tuning right away, I would have to kind of navigate my way through it. So maybe I'll have some luck this first time. Maybe I'm going to fall flat on my face. You guys can see that as I struggle awkwardly to learn how to play a song I've never seen anybody play. But let's see. My first step would be to just to kind of listen to the whole song, which I've already done, and to identify some of the portions that I feel like I would be able to kind of piece together what's going on. I hear 2 strings right in the beginning, and it's in 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1. 4. Here's my pick. And so I'm hearing something like that. Is that the melodic pattern he does? Yeah. I'm starting to hear some higher strings there. So right there, I know they're playing in some alternate tuning, just because all those open strings don't sound good with the key of E, right? We've got a D natural. You look at standard tuning, a G natural, standard tuning, right? Those 2 notes are not in the key of E, and I know this because theory tells me that the key of E has 4 sharps. So in the key of E major, which this very familiar sound to me is saying, hey Warren, it's the major key. That's how I know that, just by ear. But the key of E has 4 sharps. Those sharps are F, C, G, and D. And G and D sharp are not G and D natural. So these 2 strings I already know are not going to work with the song, at least the portions of the song that are in the key of E major. And the song, to my recollection, does not veer away from that. So I know these 2 strings are useless as is, unless I cover them somehow, mute them, fret them, or retune them. So that's some basic steps for how to figure out an alternate tuning. So use your ear to figure out what you're hearing, and then what you're hearing is aided by kind of your theory, saying like, hey, if what I'm hearing is this, then what do I got on the guitar? And it's tricky because once you have the guitar involved, you know, you're holding 2 pieces of information at once. It's like what you hear in the song and then how to play the song. You notice how to play the song is usually where you start with guitar tabs and with tutorials. That's actually backwards for how to learn music. It's how to learn where to put your fingers, but it's backwards for how to learn music. How you learn music is you start with your ear. So if you do the process kind of in reverse, you listen to what you're hearing in the song, and then you try to understand what you're hearing. And what I'm hearing, and as far as I understand it, it's the key of E major. And the key of E major is not easily played on standard tuning. You'll notice in the key of E, songs that have, this is the main chord, you almost always cover the 3rd and 4th strings. If we want to do the 7 chord, going outside the key there a little bit with that chord there, but we're in the key of E. So my guess is, you know, we're going to have to retune these 2 strings at least. But I think my feeling is like there's a little clue if we go into the song, and that clue is right here. It's right here when he goes to this 5 chord. 1. What's a 5 chord? 1, 4, 5. He goes to this chord right here. He's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 right there. So you can hear he's playing a bar chord. Now, how'd you hear that, Warren? What I'm hearing is the strings are not ringing out, kind of like an open string. I just played the 1st string. It's nice and long and sustained. When I fret a note, it dies a lot faster. It just kind of fades away because, you know, the fret right there is different from different material than the nut. And then, you know, you got your finger. My fingers are kind of fat, so if I'm accidentally touching it by mistake past the fret, the note will be gone even sooner than you realize, right? And so you're hearing all those notes. They all have that kind of dead sound, you know? So right there, I'm pretty sure I know what the tuning is now, because what I'm hearing is that's a bar chord and it's a major chord. Da, da, da. Those are the notes that I hear, and they're going da, probably like. I'm pretty sure it's this chord. Pretty sure it's this chord. But not fretted this way, because like I said, the open strings don't sound good, and you hear a lot of open strings when he's going. Not just those 2, there's more. Now, here's another piece of info, okay? Inside info from a guitar nerd and theory nerd. This guitar is not tuned to E. I don't think it's tuned to E. Now, why do I think it's not tuned to E? Because the chord that you would have to play here, in order for you to retune the strings to make that chord shape sound right with just one finger, which is what I think is going on. It's all like that because it's all open as well. It's just parallel major chords. You got your 1 chord, your E major chord, without fingers, and your 5 chord without fingers. That's what I think is going on. And in order to do that, I would have to tune the 5th string up to here. That's a whole step. The 4th string up to here, which is a whole step. And the 3rd string up to here, which is a half step. Now that's not unheard of to tune strings up, especially in Radiohead's catalog. We have Nude as an example, where Johnny Greenwood tunes his 4th string up a whole step. But it's a lot of stress on the strings. Now strings are just, you know, they're wrapped and built to a certain tension. They're gonna snap if you tune them up. So one common way to address alternate tunings where you need to tune something up is instead to capo and tune down the other strings. So you notice what I said here is I'd have to tune the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings up. 2 whole steps on the 5th and 4th strings and 1 half step up on the 3rd strings. Now instead what I would do is I will tune this down and that down. That's my 2nd string, and this I know this is boring. You're probably just looking at my iTunes right now. But if I were to write this down, let's see. This would be D, what do you call it? D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. Open D tuning. Oh, wow. It's a popular tuning. Gee. I thought I was the first to figure this out. Just kidding. Come on. Guitar, any clever thing you thought of, most people have already, most ideas people have already thought of it. So, open D tuning, okay? I'm going to drop everything down. But now, instead of just telling you it's open D tuning, hopefully you guys can understand a little bit of the insight as to how I arrived at open D tuning. What I'm trying to do is compensate for the relationships I'm hearing. Now I got this note and this note are tuned down a whole step, and now I've got to drop the 3rd string finally to F sharp. Oh, there it is. Now I'm going to just make sure I tune. A little sharp. Your open D tuning. And in the key of D, that's a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1 in the key of D. Now, if I capo, like I said, I'm gonna get an open E major because I've shifted the open strings up by a whole step, by effectively that's what I've done by adding this capo here. So little adjustment there, but that chord, let's go back. Da, 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 da. And sorry. If I can play the beginning now. Now I don't hear a 3 when he plays, so it's instilling a little bit of doubt into me as far as whether this is truly an open D tuning, because the open D tuning has a 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, and I'm not hearing this note when I hear the first chord of the song, other than the melodic part that's moving. And then when he plays the There's no this note is not there. It's just it's a power chord, technically. It's only roots and fifths of the chord. So I'm a little doubting myself now. But overall, I'm confident that I'm much closer to how the song is played than if I were just taking a stab in the dark and trying to play it in standard tuning. Like you saw me earlier, I had the open 6th string, and then I was playing way up here on the 11th fret. I guarantee if you ever see, the boys from Radiohead playing this song, they're not going to be doing that because they got something else going on. So I'm a step closer. Am I 100% sure? No. But this is the process of finding out what an alternate tuning is. So that's a little glimpse for you guys as far as how I figure out songs, especially when they're using alternate tunings on the guitar. So use your ear, combine it with some theory. How you play it on the guitar is actually not till later. That's like a step that you use to kind of reflect on what you've heard and understood from the song. It's something you do to play back what your theories are. Does that make sense? It's not the first thing you do. With tabs and tutorials, your fingers are the first thing. But when you don't have the luxury of tabs and tutorials, or you really want to build your musicianship and you don't want to just be, that guy at the campfire playing today is gonna be the if you don't want to be that guy, if you don't want to be the guy at Sam Ash or Guitar Center, that's my terrible version of Sweet Child of Mine. But you don't want to be those guys, use your ear. Your ears, you're already using your ear when you're listening to the music. It's just a matter of actually Ellen told me that, my wife told me this because she's studying psychology and just different subjects related to it. It's your she said your, I can't remember what she said. It's a part of your brain. It's a part of your brain that is responsible. The temporal lobe. Sorry, the temporal lobe is responsible for hearing, and the temporal lobe, in the word temporal, that means time. And what you're hearing are vibrations, and being able to pick out certain frequencies within the chord. That all has to do with time. So the temporal lobe, I'm just like talking out of my butt right now, but 10 years of teaching music has taught me that you can develop the temporal lobe. You can get to the point where you can tell the difference between not only low pitches and high pitches, but separate, chord qualities, right? You say major chords or sound different from minor chords, and you can do these things by comparing and contrasting. These chords sound similar. The scale sounds different. It can be trained. The temporal lobe is not just responsible for pitch, but all hearing, right? And that includes rhythm as well. And what I'm hearing is a 1 and 2 and 4 endo and a 4 endo. So if I try to give this an attempt right now, what am I going to do about that section where I hear the power chord? This is my first attempt. On the 3rd string, covering up the 3rd fret there, playing the 3rd fret so I can get a power chord. So sounds close. Okay, now you might ask, Warren, how did you know that it was tuned down and not tuned up? I don't know. But one big clue I forgot to mention before is that the strings sound very floppy. When you hear the song, it sounds very floppy, meaning that the strings, there's low tension on the strings. When there's less tension on the strings, they're not as tight. When there's low tension, they're loose. They flop all over the place. And what you're hearing when you hear the very first chord of the song, There's fret buzz. Tons of fret buzz. Oh yeah, tons of fret buzz, especially on that 6th string, because you can hear the buzz even when he's moving around between frets. But yeah, I don't think he's playing this on the 4th string anymore. Upon the the 3rd listen, another way to figure out what tuning a song is in, you have to listen, and then listen again. A lot of people don't have the patience for that, and it's not a surprise, that most people aren't willing to put in the work to do that. But I guarantee you, if you put in the work, put in the time and the effort, you can improve your temporal lobe. And that is actually a really invaluable investment into growing your musical capacity, aka musicianship. But anyway, that's my PSA on musicianship. And I'm hearing really only 2 strings right in the beginning. Yeah, I don't hear 3 strings. So the number of notes, number of strings, that's another way to figure out kind of how to play something where you don't have a tab or a tutorial. That doesn't sound right. There's too much of that 3rd, so I'm gonna bring this 3rd down. No, I don't know. There's a consequence to that. So now you're watching me struggle. This is hopefully instructive. But if I tune this down, if I tune this all the way down, the 3rd string, this is gonna sound correct now. Sounds correct for the beginning, but I'm already shaking my head after making that adjustment because I know that that's going to impact once I get here again with my 5 chord. How do I know it's going to impact it? How do I know it? Because you can hear. Because you can hear a note. He's not playing this. He's playing this note, but he's not playing this shape. You see what I'm saying? I just don't think he's playing this shape. It's possible. It's possible. But I don't think he is. Because this is really strained. It's awkward. It's just awkward. So now you can see kind of how the guitar factors into figuring out a song by ear, especially when there's alternate tuning. It doesn't come in right at the beginning of the process. I kind of find out as I'm applying my guess as to how it's being played, using, the education of theory and also the input from my ear, right? Once I put all those things together and apply it to the fretboard, you're going to see that certain things are just awkward, right? So, I have less stock in this idea that I just tried out, which was tuning the 3rd string again. But if I kind of go, if I go back, hope I don't break my string. Take my cape off. Stop right at the 3rd. If I bring it back, suddenly this 5 chord sounds correct again. So that's the chord there. So what does Warren think about the tuning of this song? I don't know yet, okay? But I'm 90% of the way there. As I listen, maybe there's something else that will give it away. I mentioned earlier, I said, I heard something that gives it away. That's what I meant. What I meant was I heard something else that if this is true about the song and the beginning is true about the song, what tuning, because I know they're not changing the tuning in the middle of the song, what tuning accommodates both truths? So it's kind of like a math logical thing. It's that type of process. It's like, if this, then this. If this and this, then this. So there are only a certain number of tunings that would accommodate both of those things. And as you kind of get more into theory, you'll find that, as your brain kind of runs through those scenarios, that it'll get easier, where you kind of start to realize, okay, how many ways can a major chord be voiced on the guitar? Not that many, So when he forgot this part, this is kind of cool. There's I like this little kind of keyboard string thing. It's like, I don't know, it might be a Mellotron or something, but anyway, I'm gonna look for another guitar part. Hopefully, I'm just guessing right now as far as what else could give away that vital third piece of logical information, right? But if I just keep going, maybe there'll be something that pops out, something that jumps out at me. No, same thing. It's like 2 chords in the song, right? There's a lot going on in this part of the song, and can't really hear what's going on in the guitar other than floppy 6th string, the floppy E string, which is probably tuned down to D, but let's see. Yeah, can't. I'm not getting anything else that's jumping out at me. So what do you do in this situation, Warren? Well, if I were doing this for real, if I were doing this for a client, or if I were doing this over Skype, I would be listening again and again and again for the sake of squeezing every bit of musical information, musical data I can out of the song. Once I see every note that's being played, every different chord that's being used in the song, then I have all the information in front of me. That's how you can kind of best parse through everything. So if I was doing this for real, sitting this down, doing it like I'm under the gun, someone is like, Warren, I'm paying you for this. You need to get it together. I would have to listen to it many times and write out. This is a good one. Transcribe what I'm hearing. Once you transcribe it, you can look at it from a different point of view, and it totally changes how the song looks to you once you transcribe it, because you're no longer in this transient moment. That's what music is. It's always transient moments, right? You're able to survey the entire landscape of the song once you transcribe it. So if I were doing it for real, I would transcribe it. Let's see, is there any more? One more try. Let's see. Does he play a 3 in that one? Yeah, he plays a 3 in that one. It could just be that they're muting the 3rd string. I hear a 3 of the key, it's a G sharp. I hear G sharp here. I'm translating for you. I call it a G sharp, but in my head it's a 3. 1, 2, 3, all relative pitch. Do, re, mi, same thing. But I'm hearing a 3 here. Very briefly. So, 92% sure it's open D tuning. So, once you tune your guitar to D, A, D, F sharp, A, D, and then you capo on the 2nd fret, give this a shot. See if one of you guys can beat me to it. I'm going to save my brain power for potentially other musical challenges that await me in the near future. But thanks for sitting with me throughout this really long video. I know it wasn't scripted. I know it wasn't, particularly captivating. But if you are interested in building your musicianship, hopefully that was helpful. I gave away some of my trade secrets, but as anybody will let you know, if they're a Skype student of mine, or if they're people who watch my video modules, they'll let you know that my goal is to equip you so that you graduate and you don't need me anymore. That's what all music teachers should do, I think, is a good teacher should be able to empower their student so that the student doesn't need the student can surpass the teacher. I'm not even, there are a lot of you guys out there who are technically, I'm sure, more proficient than I am. But the thing that I've got going for me is a whole lifetime, 20 plus years of listening very closely and trying to understand what I'm hearing. That's it. That's the only thing I got going for me. And if I can impart that in some way to you guys, whether it's through these little YouTube videos or the music theory modules that I'm doing, or Skype lessons, I'm happy. That gives me joy. It gives me joy to see people run with it and fish for a lifetime, right? The whole Chinese fishing proverb. But this is Mr. Rogers, Warren, signing off. Okay? Have a good day.